Beluga whales are called white whales, sea canaries, and melonheads. So my question is a whale a fish or a mammal? And if you said mammal, I need 4 traits that make an animal a mammal. So if we're talking about whales, why do I have a picture of this wolf-like animal now? Well, because 50 million years ago, there were no whales in the ocean. This, what you're looking at, is called Pakicetus, and this was a land animal, which eventually went into the ocean and, yes, evolved into a whale. Isn't that amazing? Now, couple questions for you. Were dinosaurs still on Earth 50 million years ago? And the next question is, was Megalodon in the oceans? So as you see here, Pakicetus wasn't a very efficient swimmer. It did the doggy paddle. So my question to you is this. Over millions of years, what had to change on Pakicetus in order for him to turn into the modern day whale? All right, enough about the evolution of whales. Now let's talk about my trip. It went from Elmira to Detroit, Detroit to Minneapolis, and Minneapolis to Winnipeg, Canada, and finally way up to Churchill on Hudson Bay. Here is a close-up of the tiny town of Churchill, Manitoba, where about 900 people live. See the airport? And then you see the river. Now, in the river, called the Churchill River, that's where we spotted most of the beluga whales and I took my videos. The red circle is where the mouth of the Churchill River meets the beginning of the Hudson Bay. This next picture shows the distribution of the beluga whales around the world. So what type of climate are the beluga whales normally found in? And in this picture, you can see a black arrow pointing to Hudson Bay. That's where we took the videos. So now on to my videos. As you're looking at these beluga whales, there are several different features that are very unique to beluga whales compared to all the other whales you've ever seen. Can you name a few right now?
Tomorrow or yesterday is going to be a better day today.
If you said they're white, you are correct. But my question is, why are they the only white whale on Earth? The next interesting thing about these whales is that they have no dorsal fin. So the question is, why don't these beluga whales have dorsal fins? Can you answer that? There's about 150,000 belugas worldwide. And they are a small whale, not big like the blue whales and the humpback whales. And they travel in pods, sometimes up to 100, many hundreds, or even 1,000 in a pod. The males grow up to about 18 feet long and about 3,000 to 4,000 pounds, about the same weight as a pickup truck. The females are a little bit smaller, and they are about 14 to 15 feet long and about 2,000 pounds. Beluga whales have 40 to 50% of their body weight, which is fat, which is the highest proportion of any whale in the world. And I'm pretty sure you know why they need all that fat. Now let's talk about the skin that covers that 6 inches of fat. Beluga whales are the only whales that shed their skin. Unbelievable. So in the summertime, they go into shallow rivers and estuaries and actually roll their backs on gravel to get rid of that skin. It takes a beluga mom 13 months to have a baby, and she can only have a baby every 3 years. Now, this video you're watching, look at the color difference Some of these are gray, and they are the babies. It takes several years for them to turn white. The babies are born 100 pounds and 5 feet long.
They don't give us many flukes.
The closest relative to the beluga is the narwhal with that weird tusk. Can you believe it? Now this is how I got my underwater videos. There's my GoPro, and it's on a stick, and I dipped it underwater along with my hand, as you see right here, and the water was 43 degrees. Now as I put the GoPro underwater, you can see the belugas coming toward it. They are unbelievably inquisitive. There's a group of about 4 of them now. Now watch, because you can see them move their heads around without turning their entire bodies. Almost all whales and dolphins have their vertebrae fused, but belugas, as you see in this video, have 7 vertebrae in their neck that are not fused. And this gives them a tremendous field of view, especially when they're being sought after by their 2 top predators, which are the killer whale and the polar bear. Well, as long as we're talking about their great field of view, let's talk about their eyes. Their eyes have rods and cones in them, which we think means that they can see color. They obviously can see underwater, but they also can see above the water, but their eyes are not quite as fine as dolphins' eyes. Here is one of my most favorite videos that I took on the whole trip. Now I want you to look as it comes up, and look at how short the pectoral fins are on this beluga whale. Very short for a whale. As he surfaces and comes back down for air, now the next one is going to get very close because it's very inquisitive like that. There's its eye. There is its blowhole. Now I'm going to go over the top of his head, which is called the melon. We'll talk about that later. And his eye is right there looking at what the GoPro looks like. Unbelievable. So now we go over the top of his head, once again called the melon, and I will get another shot on the other side. Look at his curved pectoral fin. Pretty cool. And there's his eye. So that one was very, very nice. At the beginning of the video, I called these white whales canaries of the sea, and they are. They make all sorts of crazy noises underwater. Now let's talk about the beluga whale's huge forehead, which is called the melon. It can actually change shape as the beluga whale brings in air and pushes it around to make all these crazy noises. But the most important thing about the melon is it's used for echolocation, just like bats do. So echolocation bounces waves, sound waves, off whatever they were looking at. So if they want to eat a fish, they'll do echolocation, bounce the waves off the fish, and they know they're there. Or to find a hole in the ice, they'll use echolocation. So echolocation is like sonar when we're looking for a submarine and the echoes bounce off the sub. Now look at how big the head of this thing is. It's bigger than any other whale's forehead. These white whales don't swim too fast, maybe maximum 15 miles an hour, but they do something that very few whales do. They can swim backwards, and they've been found diving to a depth of over 2,000 feet. That's pretty amazing. And they do a couple shallow dives, then a deep dive, and the deep dive will last about a minute or so. but they mainly stay shallow and look for food, which is going to be our next topic. Beluga whales are not picky about what they eat. They love salmon, Arctic cod, shrimp, smelt, sole, herring, flounder, crab, octopus, sea snails, just about anything you can think of, they will eat. They usually dive between 60 and 80 feet and just mess around on the sea bottom looking for all that crazy food like shrimp and clams and all that. Belugas can live 50, 60, 70, and maybe even 80 years unless they were hunted like they were from 1820 to 1950. And you won't believe this one, but most of the whales killed were ground up and used for dog food. I still can't believe that. I would like to thank Wally and his family and all his guides and people that work at Lazy Bear Lodge for being so professional, for without them I would have never been able to shoot such good pictures and videos.